Week 1's in the books, and we're moving on to our Week 2 picks. Didn't have the greatest week. Okay, off to a slow start, I'll admit it, but we got to learn. We got to learn how to walk again, as the Foo Fighters once said. I'll put up the standings. Ryan, up to an early lead on me. You've got 3 points. I have 1. We both missed our all-in, so still within reach, but congratulations.
Thank you. Well deserved.
Well deserved, for sure. I was off the mark on a couple. Can't believe that the one I got right was the Jets. Shocking.
Can't believe the all-in I didn't get.
Yeah, Bengals struggled for sure, but on to a new week. None of that matters. The points are the points. We've got a long season ahead of us. Let's start with the Ravens heading to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Bengals are favored by 3.5 points, even though they're coming off that really brutal loss to the Browns. I think the Ravens win this game outright. The Bengals offensive line looked bad like they do at the beginning of every season. I think Burrow's rusty. I think he's still dealing with that injury. I think the Ravens win the game, but even if they don't, I'm going to take them and the 3.5 points. Neither of these teams looked great last week, but give me the Ravens and the points.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on the spread there. I'm going to take Ravens plus 3.5, but I think Bengals have a bounce-back game here. They shake off the Battle of Ohio. Joe Burrow puts on a clinic against this defense. I think the Bengals do come out on top, but I still think the Ravens will play it close, so give me Ravens plus 3.5.
The Seattle Seahawks, coming off their loss to the Rams, shocker, heading to Detroit to take on the darlings of the NFL. Detroit, a 5.5 point favorite at home against Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think what we just talked about previously in this episode, that the loss of those 2 tackles for Geno is going to be a huge factor, especially going up against this defensive line that we saw be really, really good against the Chiefs, and I think they continue to be real good. Give me the Lions minus 5.5. I think the Lions walk all over the Seahawks and trot out of there for their first home win.
This is the one I could easily be wrong on. I really want to go your direction, but I want to make up some points. This is a place I could do it. I'm not totally off the Seahawks yet, but I think the Lions are going to be feeling themselves from that win in Arrowhead, and it just feels like it's going to be a closer game than the spread. I feel like Vegas might be overestimating the Lions, although Aiden Hutchinson, he might give Geno problems because turns out he can play football. I'm going to take the Seahawks plus the 5.5 points. I think the Lions win the ball game, but 5.5 is too much for me. I think I'll know my answer after this week. The Chicago Bears are going to Tampa to take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. A surprise performance by the Bucs last week for sure, but now they have to deal with Justin Fields and the Bears. Ryan, Bucs are favored by 2.5 at home. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears plus 2.5 here. I think the Bucs win. I could see this coming down to like a fourth quarter battle. I think the Bears just hang around long enough to make Baker have to drive downfield. It's going to be a close one. That's why I'll take the Bears plus 2.5.
Interesting, because I think Justin Fields couldn't have looked worse last week. I think Chicago couldn't have looked worse. I said in our preseason episodes, the hype around Chicago was confusing. I didn't see a big improvement this season. They looked atrocious. I mean, they looked awful. I don't know, guys, how many times do you have to see it? Justin Fields is not a franchise quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he's got guys running open. He won't hit them. It's embarrassing. It's disastrous. They probably should have drafted a quarterback with their pick. The Justin Fields era is over before it began. Somebody's just got to pull the plug on it. The Tampa Bay Bucs win this game, and they win it by more than 2.5 points. I'll give up the points and take Baker and the Pirates at home. Moving on to my Kansas City Chiefs, trying to bounce back from a Week 1 loss, 0-1. Doesn't feel good. They head to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and Dougie P, a rematch of that playoff game that came down to the wire. Chiefs are favored on the road as they head to Duval, favored by 3.5 points.
Give me Duval here, baby. I'm going to take Jags plus 3.5. I think that the Chiefs have some things to work out offensively, obviously. I know how you feel, though, being 0-1 coming into Week 2 doesn't feel good at all, especially when your team didn't play to the standards that you want them or think they should play to. So I think the Jags are kind of hitting on all cylinders right now. They're playing pretty good football. So I'm going to trust Trevor Lawrence here. I'm going to take him plus 3.5.
I really wanted to take the Chiefs to cover the spread, but
you just can't do it.
I can't do it right now because I don't know. I know we think Travis Kelce's going to play, but if he doesn't, man, I'm worried. I'm just still a little worried about the Chiefs wide receiver situation as a whole. So I agree with you. I do think the Chiefs win. I don't think Patrick Mahomes starts 0-2, but I'm going to take the Jags plus 3.5. It's a close game that comes down to the wire. That's what I'm thinking. Last game, the Miami Dolphins had an explosive offensive performance last week. Well, now they head to New England to take on the Patriots, who two Alabama quarterbacks that both threw over 300 yards last week. Dolphins favored on the road as they take on the Patriots in that tricky defense, minus 3 points. What do you got here?
Yeah, the defense is going to be the big question mark. Is how's this defense going to be able to stop such a high-powered offense? This is the most high-powered offense in all of NFL right now, and it shows. I mean, Tua had it really showed that he kind of is in the zone when he's actually healthy, and he can connect with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Those guys are always open. There's nothing you can do to make them not open. And Tua, he can put it on the mark every time. He's a super accurate passer, and he can make throws that are kind of wild sometimes where you're like, man, this guy shouldn't be able to make those throws. I think the defense can give Mac Jones enough trouble to let the Dolphins come out of here. I'll take Dolphins minus 3. They win the game, and they win the game by a touchdown or more.
I could easily go Patriots here, but that burned me last week. You talked about it's hard for them not to be open. It's because they've got a great head coach. Mike McDaniels is...
It's also because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are, they're like daggum, what's the fast animals that go, gazelle.
That worked out real well for you.
Well, gazelles, when's the last time you used the word gazelle?
I talked about one today. The Dolphins are going to win this football game, but Mike McDaniel schemes them up. He is one of the great offensive minds in football. As a matter of fact, that week 1 performance, I don't know who was scheming a better offense. You could maybe Shanahan, but there's not anyone else. I love him. I love that team. Although I think the Patriots are going to be feisty, I find it hard to believe their corners are going to be able to keep up with that offense. Give me the Dolphins to win, and I will give up the 3 points. I agree. I kind of think they win by a touchdown. Lastly, our all-in picks, one of our spread picks. If we get it right, we get 3 additional bonus points. I'm going to take the Ravens plus 3.5 against the Bengals. That is an easy one for me.
And I'm going to take the Dolphins minus 3 because I think it's an easy pick. Just how high-powered this offense was. It was the best offense of week 1 for sure, hands down, no doubt about it. And honestly, I'm kind of scared being a Bills fan, seeing how good they play.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for anyone in the AFC East. That's our week 2 picks. Let's put them on the board real quick. You have the Ravens plus 3.5. I take the same. You've got Lions minus 5.5. I'm going the other way with the Seahawks. You've got the Bears plus the 2.5. I'm going the Bucks to cover. We both have the Jags plus 3.5. We both have the Dolphins minus 3. I'm going all in on the Ravens. You're going all in on the Dolphins. That's our week 2 picks in the book. I'm 2 points behind you, but got an opportunity to make some up this week, and I'm looking forward to it. NFL season is here, and we're back in full swing.